Davy, the Boy with the Heart of a King. Written by Seth Parks. Just a stone's throw away from a faraway land sat a lonely young boy with his toes in the sand, where he knocked at a rock with a stick in his hand, and he scratched on the ground his name, Davy. Just a delicate sprout with no reason to boast. He had too little butter on too little toast. That's when Jesse, his father, took all of his sheep, and he gave them to Davy to watch and to keep. "Oh yes," Davy promised, "I'll keep them, I will." And he zigged and he zagged to a far-away hill. When you follow the path up to where the boy sat, without zigging or zagging much further than that, you will hear a deliciously fiddly tune riding high on the wind on a late afternoon. Lord, you are my shepherd, I'm trusting in you, because nobody leads me the way that you do. Always back to the field where your love is still growing, and back to the stream where your peace is still flowing. Soon a big, hungry bear smelled the sheep in the air, just to find out that Davy did not want to share. You see, he was entrusted with one job to do. No matter who's growling or jowling at you, no matter who's seething or teething at you, it was here that he found his heart growing inside. He had no other choice. He had nowhere to hide. It was here that he settled it once and for all, where his spirit grew strong and his courage grew tall. So then, night after night, while the sheep safely slept, through the danger and fright, Davy's promise was kept. In this kingdom of Iz, in this land between seas, the Lord told his friend Shmuel in the cool of the breeze, "Let's find a new king who is faithful and true. Most of all, one who has the same heart as I do. But it has to be someone I know I can trust. When no one is looking, his trust is a must." So Shmuel went out looking, and someone he found. It was Jesse, with 7 sons gathered around. He thought, this will be easy. This shouldn't take long. They all could be kings. They're so handsome and strong. But God whispered, "Wait, the new king is not here." "Have you any more children?" Shmuel asked with a sneer. "Well, I guess there's the youngest, out tending my sheep, but he's quite a ways out and the hill is quite steep." So they twiddled and whittled and waited a while, until Davy walked in and he twinkled a smile. Then God said, "Arise now, for this is the one. Anoint him with oil and your job will be done." I know you are wondering, how can this be? But I do not see people the way that you see. I'm not looking for one with a big burly beard, or somebody famous, or somebody feared. But this is the one with a heart I can trust. When no one is looking, his trust is a must. Then a silence filled up the whole room where they stood, a silence so magically, tragically good. Although Shmuel couldn't crown him or grant him a ring, who he was deep inside is what made him a king. Now the kingdom of Iz soon fell under attack, so they'd round up some men to attack them right back. Of course, Davy's big brothers would raise up a fist, and at once they went straight to the king to enlist. And then one normal day, not a twig out of place, from behind a huge rock poked his father's old face. "Take this gift to your brothers, some cheese and some bread, with a note, stop attacking, start snacking instead." What a nice change of pace from that old fleecy flock. and what thrilling news came from behind that big rock. So he hiked up his pack and then followed his nose, till he came on his countrymen standing in rows. Tally-ho! Davy heard a loud thundering yell, and each soldier was trembling from what he could tell. So he pitched all the pastries, deserted the cheese, just to see who was yelling such yellings as these. The one man who made a whole army to freeze, who made his big brothers drop down to their knees. By the look in their eyes, matters couldn't get worse when Goliath came shouting and spitting his curse. He was no average man. He was 9 feet at least, a giant, a monster, a cold-hearted beast. While the rest of the army did nothing but hide, young Davy's brave heart began growing inside. It felt just like his spirit was filling with air, like when met with the threat of that big, hungry bear. Davy didn't wait longer, or need to hear more, and what came from his mouth sounded just like a roar. "That's enough from this jowler. I'll fight him and win. I'll do it for God and for all of my kin." Davy's brothers all thought he was out of his mind, but sometimes you have to leave thinking behind. You can't wait, or the faith in your eyes will go blind. You can't wait, or the brave in your heart will unwind. He had been there before and knew just what to do. No matter who's growling or jowling at you, no matter who's sneering or jeering at you. So he swiped a few stones from the brook and then ran. He took faith, he took courage, and ran to the man. Then Goliath, the giant, saw Davy and howled. He snarled and barked, and he growled and jowled. "Do I look like a dog that you bring me a stick? Come closer, and you will be done with one lick." Davy answered him, "You have a sword and a spear, and you rattle your tongue like a snake in my ear. But I come against you in the name of the Lord, and the Lord does not rescue by spear or by sword." And with that, Davy hurried and took out a stone. He swung it, he slung it, and with a low groan, the giant Goliath fell flat on his face, and the enemy scattered like birds from that place. Then a loud cry went up from the valley that day, and from deep in his soul you could hear Davy say, "Oh, behold, there's a God in the kingdom of Is. Now the whole world will know that this battle is his." Then a sudden hush fell. He was heard clear and clean. What kind of faith had they seen? First a bear, then a giant. If that's not enough, Davy's path to be king would get rougher than rough. Lots of hang-ups and bang-ups came day after day, but his heart grew as tall as a giant that way. So he lifted his head, sang his favorite tune, a melodic, hypnotically whispery swoon. "Lord, you are my shepherd. I'm safe here with you, because nobody holds me as close as you do. When I walk in the shadows with so much to fear, I just know you're still with me. I know you're still here." God saw Davy's heart when out tending the sheep. God heard what he prayed before falling asleep. God knew every promise young Davy would keep, and said, "He has a heart like mine." So when you're all alone with your toes in the sand, just remember that God will be holding your hand, because you have been given just one job to do, to be someone who God thinks is faithful and true.